3 years ago, I started a social venture in San Francisco to help put payday lenders out of business. That's me in the picture, little guy, the red hair. As you can see, it's been sort of a David and Goliath effort. The basic premise was this: people need paychecks to get payday loans, right? So let's work with their employers and community banks and credit unions to give working poor Americans credit building loans and financial education tools so they're not vulnerable to these modern day loan sharks. So first, I want you to think about a big box retailer like Target. 400,000 people work at Target, and 350,000 of them earn less than $40,000. Most of these folks work in the stores. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're not saving at all for emergencies like most Americans. They don't have a plan. They don't have a budget. They've got no financial guides in their life at all. And when life happens, what happens? They do one of three things. If they have a 401k, today they're borrowing from it. They might bounce a lot of checks, or worse, they're going to borrow from predatory lenders at interest rates of more than 400%. 1 in 4 full-time workers borrowed $65 billion last year from payday, title loan shops, pawn shops, all of which are happening in North Carolina. The blight of predatory lenders is all too common. Obviously, unfortunately, there are more payday lending shops than McDonald's and Starbucks combined. That's over 30,000. So what my company's trying to do is convince employers throughout the country to realize that financial stress is a wellness problem. Companies spend billions on health wellness, but sweep the problem of financial stress under the rug, especially for low-wage workers. Think about all the stress that's accumulating in the 60% of the workforce who live paycheck to paycheck. Maybe it's some of you here tonight. They bring this stress to work. More distraction equals more workplace accidents, higher workman's comp claims, sick time usage, absenteeism. It's directly affecting employers' bottom line, and not in a good way. So research has shown that on average, financially stressed employee is spending up to 20 hours of work time a month. You know, I think Tammy was talking about using Facebook, but a lot of times they're using it to text their family to see if people are able to pay the bills. So it's costing $400 per employee per year. So, and there's other stark and not so interesting realities. There's also employees using their retirement savings like an ATM. $70 billion last year was borrowed from people's 401ks for non-retirement needs. So there's a lot of employers that talk about financial, overall well-being. And if you look at these 5 elements, career, social, physical, community, financial, that's what makes the elements of a good employee. Only 6% of employers are emphasizing financial wellness. So obviously money is the #1 stressor in our lives, regardless of income. So financial wellness gets to the root cause of this unhealthy workforce. So it's not all negative. It's not all a big dark crowd. There's actually a movement starting where companies realize that a normal investment in a wellness program, or a nominal investment in a wellness program, can lead to big returns on their bottom line. So they're offering wellness programs that have socially responsible loan products tied to them with low wealth, so that low wealth workers can improve their financial life. So these pioneering companies, some of which have signed up for our service, are meeting employees where they're at and helping them become better stewards of their paycheck, building their credit scores, and becoming savers for short-term emergencies and for retirement. So we've got studies now that 92% of employees are excited about their financial wellness benefit, and 3 out of 4 are saying that they're less financially stressed after enrolling in our program. And almost half of these folks have avoided going to a predatory lender or borrowing from their 401ks. So it's working when people make those, when companies are making those financial wellness investments. So many of you folks are employed by organizations with struggling employees. And so I challenge and invite you to be a groundswell by making your employee benefits people in your workplace aware of these kinds of new programs and tell them it's not only the right thing to do, but it's also a good business decision. So we know that there's plenty of HR folks that are convinced that physical and mental health wellness is important, and that personal financial stress levels are a huge contributing factor to wellness. So our mission is to empower employees with expert advice and offer a comprehensive wellness program to help them meet their basic needs and save for the future. So I'll leave you with this. Imagine our country without predatory lenders preying on the most vulnerable employees in our workforce. For this to happen, we know that we must first demonstrate that there are viable and scalable alternatives with innovative financial wellness programs in place that meet low-wealth workers' needs. We can pass laws that protect employees that have nowhere else to turn and run payday lenders out of business. Thanks.